This is Republic and you're watching This is Exclusive with me, Shavansan. Ladies and gentlemen, for about 25 years, you've had Pakistan completely lying. This is for the first time that someone in office has admitted to their role in the Kargil War. From the Mujahid link to now Pakistan Army admitting that they were behind the Kargil War. It's a public admission that has been made by none other than the Pakistani Army chief. Not just that, we're also going to take you through what's really happening in Manipur. Over the last few days, there has been a dangerous escalation in Manipur, particularly with the drone attacks that have taken place and rockets that have been fired. The situation appears to be extremely grim in Manipur. All this and much more on this edition of This is Exclusive. But up first, let's take a look at the headlines at this hour.
Presented by Royal Global University. Northeast can't wait. Pado kuch bano.
1948, 1965, 1971 या कारगिल की पाक बहारत जंगे हों या सियाचिन का महाज, हजारों शुहदा वतन की सलामती और हुर्मत की खातिर कुर्बान हुए.
First they denied involvement, then they pushed the blame on Mujahideen, and today, after 25 years, Pakistan admits to their involvement in the 99 Kargil War. Years after General Musharraf lied to the world, Pakistan today has been completely exposed.
ये राहुल बाबा की नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस कहते हैं कि हम जम्मू कश्मीर को स्टेट का स्टेटस वापस देंगे. ये क्या आप जम्मू कश्मीर की जनता को मूर्ख बना रहे हो भाई?
Pakistan must listen up loud and clear. India has made its stance completely clear that there will be no talks with Pakistan till peace is restored in Jammu and Kashmir.
See, my unfortunate thing was that the J&K government had nothing to do with Afzal Guru's execution. Otherwise, you would have had to do it with the permission of the state government, which I can tell you in no uncertain terms would not have been forthcoming. I don't believe that any purpose was served by executing him.
Ahead of Jammu and Kashmir elections, National Conference goes all out with appeasement politics. Omar Abdullah backs parliament attacker Afzal Guru. He sympathizes with him as he says that Afzal Guru's hanging was pointless. Deliberate escalation in Manipur. After drone and rocket attack by insurgents, fresh wave of violence kills 6 people. Chief Minister Biren Singh calls for a key meet of all ruling party and alliance legislators.
We want justice! We want justice! We want justice!
29 days on, but justice for Abhaya chorus refuses to die down on the streets of Kolkata. Medical fraternity march towards Raj Bhavan in protest, but Mamata Banerjee adopts to finger on the lips policy.
By Royal Global University. Northeast can't wait. Pado kuch bano.
Before we go to the top story of This is Exclusive, we are starting with some breaking news now coming in from Gujarat, where chaos has erupted at Kandla port in the SEZ area after a US Army used hand grenade was found in the SEZ area. In fact, as we speak, a forensic team has already reached the spot. Further investigation is already underway. What we are picking up is that this was found on one of the import-export company premises in the middle of old clothes. What you see on your screens right now, first on Republic, images that have been accessed by Republic TV's Priyanka. On your screens, that's the hand grenade that was found from one of the consignment is what we are picking up at the Kandla port, and that is the reason why it does appear as there is a situation of chaos. Let me quickly go across to my colleague Priyanka for getting us the latest breaking news now coming in. Priyanka, what more details are you picking up?
Well, that's right, Shavan. This is a used hand grenade of the US Army that pulled from us. It has been found, in fact, from the SEZ area of the Kandla port, wherein, in fact, we have been also told that the FSL team has reached at the spot, and they are also conducting their investigation into the safe. They are trying to understand essentially how this came to be in the middle of old clothes. Now, let us understand where, in fact, this had been found. Was at the premises of a Pleksha apparel company that has been established there and has operations there. And in the middle of the consignment that they have found this old used hand grenade of the US Army. Now, of course, they are trying to investigate further as to how this grenade came there. As I said earlier, the FSL team has reached at the spot, and we will expect an official statement from the authorities shortly.
Priyanka, for getting us the latest details. In fact, a story that we'll be tracking very closely just to find out where exactly did the consignment really come from and what's the situation. We'll be tracking very closely, getting you the latest update in a short while from now. Shifting focus now to the other big story, first on Republic, that we broke a short while back. This is perhaps the first public admission. Make no mistake that General Pervez Musharraf had made a mention of Pakistan's involvement in his memoir. But that was after he stepped down as the president of Pakistan. In fact, for the longest time, the official position that was taken by Pakistan was the fact that this was the handiwork of what they called Mujahideens and not the Pakistani army. So much so, it has been well documented that Pakistani soldiers who were killed, their bodies were not even taken back by the Pakistani army. In fact, it was the graciousness of the Indian army, and following the much necessary rules and regulations of any war, there was a burial that was carried out by the Indian army. In fact, the man who has documented this is none other than General VP Malik, the man who led the Indian army from the front. It's none other than General VP Malik. On this edition of This Is Exclusive, we're also joined by General VP Malik, who in his book, which I must say is the bestseller, and more importantly, perhaps the foremost document of the Kargil War. What really happened during the Kargil War, and the fact that how it was perhaps being planned by General Musharraf for a very, very long time. And thereafter, despite the kind of evidence, Pakistan had always been maintaining that they had absolutely no role to play. Let's also go across to General VP Malik, who's going to join us in this broadcast. And thereafter, we'll play out that bite of Pakistani Army Chief. But before that, General VP Malik, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. General Malik, by now I'm assuming you must have seen what the Pakistani Army Chief had to say. And as I understand, someone in public office in Pakistan has now admitted to their involvement in the Kargil War. In the past, of course, General Pervez Musharraf did actually make a mention of this in his memoir, but this was after he had stepped down as the president of Pakistan. General VP Malik, what do you make of this admission by none other than the Pakistani Army Chief?
Jai Hind, Shravan. Thank you for asking me to come on your program. Firstly, I must say that this is not a big surprise for me. And it is, as far as I am concerned, it's more of a belated confession. It is also, to some extent, it is an apology, particularly confession to the country and apology for those Pakistani soldiers who were sacrificed, and some of their bodies, as you mentioned earlier, were never taken back, and we had to bury them with full military honors. Why it has come after 25 years, he is probably wanting to retract whatever had been said by by one of his predecessors, Pervez Musharraf. And he is now counting all those people who had died as people who had sacrificed their life for the country. Well, better late than never. But as far as this confession part is concerned, we had no doubt right from the beginning that these were not Mujahideens. These were the Pakistani army entirely. In fact, there were no Mujahideens at all in this war. The first hint came to us on the 26th and 29th of May when we intercepted the telephone conversation between Pervez Musharraf, who happened to be in Beijing, and his CGS, who was in Rawalpindi. And that gave a hint that Pakistan Army is involved in that. And subsequently, of course, as the war progressed, we captured a large number of documents. We captured a lot of identity cards of the people who were involved in this, weapons and equipment. And we also captured 8 prisoners of war who were returned to them. And some bodies they asked for, and we returned those. But most of the bodies who had died on our side, they never asked for it. And subsequently, I know that Pervez Musharraf had to go and apologize to people of Gilgit area, because most of the boys were from that area, apologize to the parents of those people and to try and win them over. But those attempts were taken only to pacify the agitation that was going on in Gilgit-Baltistan area. Also, by now, it's no surprise because by now a large number of Pakistani service officers as well as journalists have already written a lot of books on that. I know one Air Force officer, Kaiser Tufail, had written this right from the beginning. Then Vice Admiral Khatak, who had also written criticizing Pervez Musharraf and the Pakistani army. And then Lieutenant General Shahid Aziz, who had worked in the ISI and also in the MO Directorate of the Pakistan Army. He's now written 2 books. One, I remember in the beginning, he said, Ye Khamoshi Kahan Tak? And subsequently they have made an English translation of that. And latest, of course, is a very authentic book written by journalist Naseem Zahra from Kargil to coup, because she takes the story right up to the time when coup was. So this is not something surprising even for the Pakistani public. I think it is more of an apology for the people who had sacrificed their life during that war, and also to acknowledge or to inform the public how much sacrifices have been made by Pakistan Army in all the wars, which, as you know, they all lost. So it's just one of those things that he has mentioned.
General Malik, in your book, you've extensively written about the manner in which the Pakistani army was actually planning it. Of course, General Pervez Musharraf right at the forefront of it. And over a period of time, the kind of infiltration actually took place. The fact of the matter is this, because they had gone to an extensive length to cover this up. For the longest time before the global community, they have tried to basically carry out with this hogwash that they had absolutely nothing to do with the war. So would you say that this public admission only goes on to further expose the narrative that Pakistan has been weaving all this while?
Yes, I agree with you, because initially they started it off and kept talking about it as a deception plan. Not a deception plan, they tried to show it as a deception plan. But these kind of deception plan which they tried and they articulated in their statements, etc., in public domain today, you cannot carry on with the lies for a long time. So it was quite obvious to us that these are all lies being mentioned by the Pakistan Army. There is no doubt that today the present Army Chief of Pakistan is acknowledging this. This is for the first time that a very senior officer of the Pakistan Army has acknowledged the direct and a full role of Pakistan Army in while carrying out this infiltration in Dras and Kargil sector.
General Malik, just to interpret this a little further, the fact here is that there is enough evidence, especially that has been documented by you in your book, where Pakistan was aiding several infiltrators along with their own army. Today, the world must take cognizance of the fact that you have a professional army engaging in, one, violating the territorial integrity, territorial sovereignty of India. And this has now come on record. So it is not just about shahadat being given. They are now admitting that they violated the territorial sovereignty of India back in 1999. That's the big message coming across, and the world should be taking cognizance of this.
You're right, absolutely. You know, one of the issue that I regret, if this had been accepted by our intelligence agencies and our political leadership, that this is all caused by the Pakistan Army and Mujahideens are not involved in it, as I kept saying during the war also, then, you know, we would have had to call it a war, and we would have then be free to take whatever action, including invasion of Pakistan. But because our political leadership was not wanting to escalate, and our intelligence agencies kept insisting that these are Mujahideen for quite some time, so therefore, you know, and we were told not to cross the line of control, our international border. So those are some of the handicaps that we had to suffer initially. But today, when they are saying, I suppose now the world will realize that they will also ask, why didn't we invade Pakistan, particularly as a reaction to what they had done.
General Malik, I want to end this interview by asking you that perhaps in this war, the difference that we have seen in the past, that there was, over a period of time, the political class in Pakistan itself found itself on a shaky ground because General Pervez Musharraf had a different plan altogether, not only to carry out their Operation Kashmir, but also to ensure that there is a political change that takes place in Pakistan. With this particular admission, one thing becomes abundantly clear, that not only were they planning to carry on with their nefarious design in Kashmir, but the fact that they had something more in plan. And that was obviously thwarted by the Indian army, which was led by you.
Yeah, that's right. You know, the fact is that the political situation in Pakistan has not changed. At that time also, the army dominated the political leadership in Pakistan. And today also, let's face it, that it is the Pakistan army which is dictating terms to whoever has been so-called elected in Pakistan. So what you're saying, I think I would add a word of caution here, that we therefore have to be very careful, because their nefarious activities and such action which they took, that cannot be ruled out today also.
General Malik, it's always a pleasure having you on our show. And of course, you've put this into perspective for all our viewers. I must say that perhaps if one has to understand the challenges, the sacrifices that one has made during the Kargil War, the best understanding really comes in from the documentation that has been made by General V.P. Malik, who led the army from the front. Thank you very much, General Malik. Well, that's a big admission that has been made by a Pakistani army general about their involvement in the Kargil War. In fact, this leads to further questions. That Pakistan all this while has been saying that non-state actors have been behind several other attacks. It is now clear that Pakistan, which still continues with its nefarious design, should be stopped. Thank you very much for joining us on This Is Exclusive. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time with more exclusive stories.